way I've recorded this.
Welcome to the Teachers Pep Rally, everyone. We are back for a new season.
Woohoo!
If you any of our last episodes about life and learning, please go back and check them out on your favorite audio platform or by visiting our YouTube channel. We are very excited about kicking off season 8 and hope that you will continue to join us in the conversations. Hey, Fred. Hey, Pete.
Hello, friends.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
We're
Real
back.
time. We're back. We're back. Are we better than ever?
Bigger and better than ever.
Better than ever.
Boy,
Yeah.
It's
Good.
like-
Hope you're all doing well. School year started.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for the three of us, we've been in it for a good bit.
I've been in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're definitely trekking along. But if you just kind of started your school year, then welcome for joining us, and you're going to be great. It's going to be a great year. Won't be perfect. Remember, we always talk about that, but it'll be great. So we're just going to kind of visit, get reconnected. We've already got some guests lined up coming, but we just figured, the three of us would catch up a little bit live with everyone and also hear from you all and hear what you've been up to and what your summer was like. So, Fred, what's one exciting thing? Because we could probably make a whole list, but what's one exciting thing you did over the summer?
I think the most exciting thing was something that I spoke about briefly at the end of last season, and that was the move of my daughter out west. And we drove cross country. So I did something I've never done before. So that was it was a blast. We had a great time. It was really like, we've done a lot of road trips. And, you can dread it. We've done, because we're up in the Northeast, so we've always done the treks down to the Carolinas, and those long 12-hour drives could be tough because they get monotonous. And usually you're doing them like either all through the night, letting the kids sleep, or you're doing them, you're trying to break it up so everyone's not going crazy. This ended up being a really amazing surprise. We started off, and we proceeded west, or southeast, or southwest, excuse me, down into, Kentucky. And then we hit Knoxville, we hit Nashville, we hit Little Rock. And then we cut up across northern Texas and went into New Mexico, and then Arizona, where we saw the Grand Canyon. And then we went into California, and we were out west out there. And it was just fantastic. It far exceeded anything I was worried about. It was so fun. It was a lot of fun. So we saw a lot of neat things. And the perfect durations too, right? You can go to these little cities and you see a little bit of it. You get a little taste of everything as you go along. But that was the big thing. And it was just a lot of fun. It was, we managed not to kill each other, which was good. And I think also the fact that we had it at the beginning of the summer, so that allowed us then to still have our whole summer afterwards. So we had the big trip, and then we got to still enjoy the whole summer. So it wasn't like, that punctuation at the end of the summer, you do the trip and then you're back into the grind of the school year, So that was our big thing. It was so much fun. I will also encourage all of our listeners, if you're contemplating a road trip like that, do it. It is an amazing experience. You see a side of America that I think we would all benefit from seeing. You meet so many nice people along the way. Different foods, if you really want to explore that, or you could just do the same thing in every state, because McDonald's does exist in every state. So there's that. But it was great. It was so much fun though.
That's wonderful, Fred. Yeah. And it's what a great educational experience, right? The different topography, like you said, the culture, the food, the music, if you want to get into it, it's fascinating.
So with the topography, I joked about it, and I think you all know that because I was kind of sharing some posts and comments. So if you blindfolded me and dropped me off on any piece of highway from Pennsylvania to possibly Oklahoma, I would say I'm in Pennsylvania. Like there's a lot, maybe not so much Oklahoma, but maybe to Nashville, like to Tennessee, down south. But once we got on the west side of Oklahoma City, it became what you saw in the movies. It was exactly what we saw. Flat for miles. It was just open. And then the other thing, somebody was just asking me about this too. I was talking to a student of mine, and I just saw him this afternoon, and he did a big trip, but they went out to Yellowstone, and he said they almost died because they went up into the Tetons and they got stuck in a snowpack. They didn't realize the snow was up above their chest. They sunk down. And I said, were you guys dressed for that? And he goes, no, we were actually, it was like in the 79, 80 degrees when we were going up the mountains, and they were in shorts, and they started going up into the snow, being young guys, not thinking maybe. And they said, we thought we were going to die up there. But anyway, the thing that I was telling him was the thing that it surprised me the most were the windmills. So in Texas, I thought we would see, more of the oil derricks, the rigs, or not the rigs, but the oil pumps, there were, I'd have to say thousands. Like there were windmills for as far as the eye could see, and they're all like kind of spinning in sync. So that was what was really mesmerizing about it. But I didn't expect to see that in Texas. But it was really neat to see. So, and then gas prices in certain states were just outrageous. But other than that, it was pretty good. It was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was for you.
Yeah,
how about you, Pete?
I worked all summer. It was a very productive, but very busy and tiring, but a good tiring summer. I'd like to share what I was happy was we were able to afford my son and wife to go see family members in Japan for the first time since before COVID. And very important for them to go have that trip and be with loved ones over there. So yeah, it hurt. I was here working and I missed them. And Erin and I, we grabbed a dinner one night. That was really nice. But my fondest memory of the summer was being able to drop them off at the airport and then hearing that they got there okay, and then pick them up and hearing how great their trip was, and how my son didn't drive my wife too crazy, and that they were able to be with family and reconnect. That was really important. So that's my takeaway from the summer, and I'm happy we were able to swing that and make that happen.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it.
fun.
How about you?
I'm the same. Yeah, I work all year round. So summertime I work. It actually isn't the slow time for me, because that's kind of the time period where I'm doing the work to support whatever's coming up for the new year, right? So my May, June, and July get real busy. My August slows down a little bit, and then because everyone's back here, and then September it kind of blows up again. So I was thinking about this, and you know what? I got to watch a lot of soccer, and that was exciting for me. So
That's
we
your
have a
passion.
town. Yeah, totally my passion. So we have a town around here called Decatur. And they have a women's team that plays in the summertime. It was their first year. It's an actual club, and it was girls from all different colleges from all over, and they played other teams that had kind of the same thing, and it was unbelievable. So I really enjoyed that and watching them. And then of course the Olympics were this summer.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, we got to talk about that in a minute before I get. So the women's soccer, unbelievable, right? So they won in soccer. So that was cool. And of course, there's a lot of teams that I root for, guys and girls. The girls soccer that's so cool and exciting to see is that a lot of the in Europe, it was always the boys clubs that they kind of really fostered. And so we're now seeing the women's. And so people are like, well, how come the US isn't as good as they used to be? Well, that's not necessarily the case. It's just that other female teams across the globe now have kind of, increased their clubs. And so it's so cool to see. I just love it so much. But I digress. Did you guys watch any of the Olympics?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I just love it. What's one of your favorite sports? I said soccer. That's an easy one for me. But what are some of the ones that you love to watch?
The one thing that I thought was interesting this year was, so we cut the cord with cable, and we do all of it on the streaming stuff. And I was fascinated by the fact that I wasn't confused to watch any sport I wanted to. So I was watching sports for the first time ever in all the years I've been alive, seeing the Olympics. And that was really cool. And I think the sport that kind of dragged me in a little bit was archery. you know,
Archery
and
swimming.
just looking at the complexity of the bows and stuff like that, I was kind of drawn in by that. But I think the one thing I always kind of go back to is swimming. I like watching the swimmers.
Totally.
I
Yeah.
thought you were going to say the breakdancing, Fred.
That's what I
Well,
was
you know what?
waiting.
We don't want to create a division in our audience.
That's true.
Speaking of the swimming, a teacher of ours at my school, 5th grade teacher, wonderful teacher, amazing teacher. Her niece is Katie, the swimmer,
Oh,
the medalist. So
Wow.
that was a big deal. That was a big deal. Rooting for her and all the classes watching together and talking about it the next day, and made it a big deal. So that was
wow.
great.
Yeah,
That
it
is
did
really
feel
cool.
it did feel like it's a smaller community because I know someone who knows someone who has a girl on the soccer team, right? So it just and skateboarding, someone said, yeah, skateboarding was great.
That is
Oh
fun.
my God, some of the stuff they do nowadays, it's just unbelievable.
Any of the BMXers too, like that's
Yeah.
it, defying gravity, right?
Yeah. And I really felt like, which has always been, I think, the heart of the Olympics is, bringing people together from all walks of life, all around the world, right? Good sportsmanship. And for whatever reason, this time around, I just felt like I saw it. It was just so in your face for so many different sports. And it was really, really sweet to see. So I guess I spent my summer watching sports, which
Loving our passions. That's what
Well,
it's
can't,
about.
can't
Recharge.
complain.
Did you see the so I heard something today and I didn't see this, but maybe you did, but I missed the story about that marathoner who came in last. But so I just looked it up to make sure I got their name right. It was Kinzang Lamo, a 26-year-old in the Bhutan army
Mm-hmm.
and the only woman on her country's 3-person Olympic team. So I guess there's certain countries that get invited in,
Yeah.
even though they don't have the ability to put together full teams, but that was
Yeah.
one of the countries. She was finishing last, but the way the crowd received her, there's people that came back and they were like cheering her on, and they were saying like that's what the Olympics is really about.
That's what I
is that
mean. I
that
just felt
finished,
like
yeah.
a lot of that's awesome. I feel like a lot of those stories were really lifted up this time. And
They've been
I
trying.
just, I love seeing that. I love
And the
seeing that.
Special Olympics after it. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
Yes.
This
That was
crazy.
unbelievable.
And
Unbelievable.
it's such a great way to kick off the school year with me in the classroom in the music room, because we just do a ton of John Williams and all the Olympics music that he wrote. So we'll whip out animated listening maps and he's written so much for it over the years, and just some great music there. And then even talking about Celine Dion coming back with the singing, that was a beautiful moment as well. Beautiful.
Cried over that.
What's an animated listening map, Pete?
So like, let's say it's the Olympic fanfare, right? So it's icons and shapes, and the kids will follow it. The kids will follow it as the music plays. And what I'll do is I'll make a copy of it, and then the kids will do it with a marker or a highlighter. They'll follow it. So they're the animator. They're following it, as opposed to watching something digital happening on the screen on their own. So it's just to get them starting to get the idea of following along with the score, iconic notation. Then we'll go into standard notation and all that good stuff. So
that's a great idea.
It's complicated music, and they're following along, and it's a game. Can we all get to the end at the same point? Can we get that last note together? So make it all a game.
Nice.
I love that, Pete. Well, speaking of the school year, so as I mentioned, we're a little bit into it. So what has been the most surprising that you can talk about, or unexpected experience so far in the classroom or within your district?
That's the problem.
Can we talk about it?
No. Here we go.
Pete's thinking, everyone.
I have notes. I have notes to keep me on track.
We will talk to the lawyers. We'll come back to you.
Just pixelate me out and make my voice really low. I'm going to sum it all up, and it's something we've always known, but oh boy, it's smacking me in the face this year, and I'm just rolling with it. Change is constant. Change is constant. Sometimes that's a beautiful thing. Sometimes it's a smack in the face, but it's all good. Change is constant, and I'm embracing that. So that sums it up for me.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example?
No, not right now.
No,
we'll talk later.
Thank you very much.
We'll talk to legal before he can share. Yeah, that's why I always say embrace the crazy, be a teacher, because I just think, or just be anything in education. And it's just a matter of, I mean, you're laughing. I know for any of us, there's moments where it's not so funny, but sometimes you just have to laugh because if you don't,
Totally.
you'll just lose it.
We
I
got
always
nothing
think
else.
of like our lunch lady friend,
Yes.
and the conversations you have with kids and, her job, it's not easy to be in nutrition and, I can only, kids and humans, adults don't clean up like they used to or have the manners they used to. But,
This is true.
when you find those little moments of humor, it makes it that much better. What about you, Fred? Anything surprising or unexpected so far? Because usually that's how it goes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's definitely been some drama here in the past week, which is interesting regarding our student leadership. So that's interesting to see evolve. I'm not sure what direction that's going to go, but I think most importantly, the best surprise, hands down, are the students' demeanor, their presence, right?
Oh,
So
good.
this is the class coming into college that was the freshman high school COVID class. And we were really concerned about this because we've been seeing a downward trend in engagement and participation and just this general malaise in their presence, like in their demeanor. Like they just were like not interested, not checked in, like they're all checked out, in other words. And I've been blown away. It's the complete opposite.
Good.
So we're seeing this resurgence of just what classes were like before COVID. They're playful. I'm getting comments. I don't know if it's also the dynamic of the personalities too, but I'm getting, sometimes you throw a question out to a class and you get some feedback from one student or that one student over and over again or whatever. But I'm getting it almost like in stereo effect. I'm getting, something over here and then the students over on their side contributing to a thought and then another student's popping in. So that's what's really surprised me. And I think going into this semester, I was a little concerned about it because you all know it's draining. Like when you're not feeling like you're getting that connection, you're doing everything you can to bring it out of them. You're trying to get them to, embrace this. And I was like, oh boy, this is going to be an exhausting year because my teaching load is almost doubled. And at that same time, I'm like, oh boy, it's going to be a weighty one. But I'm enjoying it. Knock on wood. It's still early. I'm knocking on my head as the wooden thing for those who can't see. But the thing is, I'm enjoying it, and that's been the most pleasant, happy surprise of the semester.
Oh.
Now it's you know what it is? Oddly, it's me keeping up with them, like because they want to go, they want to do it, they want to get going. Let's do this, let's do that. So that's good. That's a pleasant surprise.
Well deserved, well earned. You guys have gone
Yeah.
through it, and yeah, you've been sharing over the years. Hey, what's going on? What's going
Yeah.
on? Where are these kids? And I'm sure it's been a grind for you. So
Yeah,
that's
no,
really
it's good.
great news.
I'm
And I
happy.
don't know if it's a fair sample size, but several of our friends that are in higher education are sharing the same thing, Fred. Like
Oh, that's good enough.
the
Beautiful.
workload is doubled.
Oh,
However, the students are kind of back or more engaged, or their willingness is more positive forward. You know what I mean? So that's interesting. I mean, that's hopeful.
I think one of the things that I haven't done anything like formally, so everything's anecdotal. If I poll a class or ask a question, but the one thing that I've asked them is like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to be in a virtual setting, or do you prefer to be, in resident education, like face to face? And I don't know if they're just trying to like be kind to me because they think they know what I want to hear, but I'm getting the sense that they all say they want to be in the classroom. They would rather not, if they have an
We're
option to
hungry
do a
for it.
class online or in live, they're saying I'd rather be live. And I'm so happy. I'm so
Right,
happy.
right.
Now, I think online education and remote education is the flexibility is still a great thing to have to complete your degree. But I think ultimately being in the classroom, face to face, working together, meeting, talking, discussing is all good. And it kind of, like, not to belabor the point, but it kind of goes hand in hand with what Amazon just put out this past week, where they're expecting all employees now to report in all 5 days of the week.
Right.
And I know in my own family, we have a family member who's a very senior person inside of a company, and they're intentionally going in now every day of the week to show that this is what you need to be doing. So I think there's still a balance. Certain professions easily can stay remote, keep on doing it. But it's good to see that we're really kind of encouraging that. And from us, from a faculty standpoint, I think the collegiality is really important. And and talking. Well, you all do it the same thing. You talk to each other. You have such great relationships, Pete. You have, how many times we've had guests in here in the past who work with you and say that they're doing this and they're doing that. I know, Erin, you're in the administration side sometimes, but you see it. I'm sure it's that the hallway conversations and the lunchroom conversations and the coffee break room. Those are really important.
Yeah, the hugs, right? Like I saw some
Hugs,
people
high
yesterday.
fives, laughs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's great. For me, and we'll just talk about it for a minute and then we'll move on because I don't mean to bring it down, but me looking at it as a state and it as as a district side or central office side, Pete and I had a school in our state that had a shooting. And so Appalachia High School, if you hadn't heard about it, and that's been tough. That's been really tough. And just to let people know, and I'm sure in his district as well, we've had a lot of threats.
Yep.
And a lot of, I don't know if they're copycatters or there's been some really serious things happening in our schools that are super scary. And it's how do you balance between, well, this is just someone, sensationalizing something that just happened versus what's a real threat, trying to teach, students, young kids, even, social media. And if you put something out there that's, a serious offense, that could be an issue. So I would say it was a surprise. Unfortunately, it's not so much maybe unexpected anymore when we hear about it. It's just because it's been happening so much. But I would say safety and security has been a huge, huge thing this year. And for us in the state of Georgia, it's really at the forefront right now because it's just repercussions of, unfortunately, what happened with that poor community. So, I'm sure we'll be having more conversations about this. I hope so, in a positive way of like, what can we do if we want to feel like we can do something to change this? But safety and security is a huge thing right now for school districts, not just in Georgia, all around, including colleges, Fred,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can remember us, and once again, I can't remember the actual guest, but I remember having a conversation with somebody in the past here, and we talked about how it was different. Like these shootings were going on, for such a long time, and we were worried. We're part of the conversation was talking about how we were worried about the young people and how they absorb it. How do they view this? And it's becoming their norm. It's becoming their world now. If they've started off in, like, say, second grade, right, for the past 10 years and longer, really 20 years, it goes back to Columbine. It's their norm. Where when you think about our world growing up through schools, I mean, that was not a thing.
No, I mean, duck and cover, which, hello, what the heck was that going to do?
But, I mean, for the nuclear blast?
Yeah. At least it made you feel like you were doing something.
Right.
Ay.
But yeah, that's something we should follow back up on. Maybe we'll see if we could find out who's out there. If anybody listening has some background in that, reach out to us. Maybe we can talk about it in a positive way. Like you said, I think it's more helpful to get people in the right mindset because
to feel like you're not helpless or hopeless, that there's something you can do. That would be my takeaway from it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's it. And as we've always promised, we always try to keep this uplifting and inspiring, but let's face it, we have to talk about sometimes the reality of being in this profession. All right, something new you're implementing this year, whether in your teaching or leadership role, that you're really excited about, or it could be something you're going to continue, but maybe in a different way. No pressure.
After 19 years of doing various versions of bus duty, car duty, AM, PM, both, after fall break, I will stop doing AM car duty, and a few other specialists on my team. We're doing small group. We're calling it behavior academies, and going over 6-week blocks, small groups. I'm gonna have all boys, which I love the idea of that.
Yeah.
Gonna be something other than just a music teacher to them, and maybe bring some ties in and stuff, and give them some structure and some male mentorship, but talking about empathy and doing some exercises, getting along with each other, dealing with stress, dealing with change, dealing um, cause and effect. There's some pretty significant behavior issues where I'm at, and gonna give these kids before their day starts, in the first part of the day in the morning when they come in, they'll come to me or somebody else and work on for about 6 weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. Something very new. I think I kind of teach that way all the time, but it's going to be nice to do it in a more focused group, small group of just boys, and a little boys club in the morning. I'm looking forward to that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, they're lucky to have you, Pete. I love that.
Thanks.
That is cool. That's
How about
important
you,
stuff.
Fred?
There's, from a teaching perspective, I think the big thing is still AI. I think we talked about it last year. We had some great guests, EduAid and so on. And I think we're all still continuing to watch this. It's evolving rapidly. But I've woven it into my courses in a way where, first of all, we're making sure the students understand, especially the technology students, that they're understanding the tech behind it. And then also understanding how to use it well, not as a crutch, but as a smart assistant, as a tool that can help propel them further. The reality is, and this has been in some readings, and I know we'll get to another topic here in a second, but we now have something that we've never had in education before, and that is one-on-one tutoring. Everybody has a tutor right now. Now, how they use it, if they're paying for it through like ChatGPT, maybe $20 a month, or if they're doing it for free through Copilot, or maybe free with the Perplexity account or something, they have this now. I think, though, there's a layer of, I want to say it's apprehension, but it's more like, if I ask somebody, are you using AI? Their first go-to thought is, I'm not going to say yes, because then you're going to think I'm cheating. So they're kind of like harboring it as that's a cheating tool. And we have to move them away from that. And so if I could do that in my classes with at least my groups of students, I'll be happy to get them to be, trusting it more, leaning on it more, but not also in a way that it replaces them. So that's the other thing. We talk about that a lot too, but that's one topic that I've been weaving into like all of my classes, because I'm teaching a lot of technology classes this semester. So
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And I would say for teachers out there, like there is layers to this. It's not just
No doubt.
like I hands down can tell if someone has used it but didn't do anything with it and just took it
Right.
as their own. Like
Yeah.
in an essay, I can hands down tell when it's ChatGPT versus an actual human's process of. Doesn't mean it's not robotic. It's good. It's just at a certain grade level that
Right.
for me isn't to the standard. So yeah, we'll definitely be having some like just focused conversations. I hope this year on that, Fred.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think we should. I
Definitely.
think we probably would do some good. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, the only thing I can think of is I've spent some time over the summer with my conference professional development I do in Orlando. So Main Street PD, I really want to cut the pricing on it, but not the quality. And so I've been working all summer on trying to figure that out so that more teachers are able to come, because I get a lot of messages of them wanting to come, but it's just school districts aren't providing as much, money towards PD as they used to. And so I can't control other school districts, but I can control what I'm doing and contributing. So that'll be my big thing, is to try to get more people to be able to come, because I'm going to make it so that it's really easy and affordable to do.
Oh, that's great. That's a great event too, Erin. I know that you've been going ups and downs with it, but it's
For
for all the
sure.
teachers that are out there. Look for the announcement this year for when you're putting your dates out there. That'll be.
It's a coming. It's a coming. Okay, so another one, we're always talking about growth, whether it's professionally or personally. So is there anything maybe towards the end of last school year or over the summer that you've been working on, or that you did to kind of apply some growth to yourself? I mean, again, it could be personally, and if so, and if you feel comfortable sharing it, like what was it and how are you going to try to apply it this year? goat yoga.
You go. No, that's right. Yeah, my daughter's yoga class.
I've really been trying to better care of myself.
Good.
Definitely been taking better care of myself. Not too long ago, we had a pretty major health scare, and I don't ever want to go through that again. I at least I'm on the treadmill every day, trying to, I get out of school on a day that I don't have anything after school, which is very rare. I'll go do some exercising before I pick up the middle schooler.
Yeah.
And just say, this is my time. Get this frantic energy out of me. Let's calm it
Yeah.
down a little bit. So when I'm home, I'm more present.
Good.
Yeah. Trying to, and it's never done. That's my answer for another question later on, but it is never done. It is never done. I've accepted it. There's always more. There's always something better to do. And we're just doing our best at the time that we can do it with what we can do.
That's it.
So that's it.
That's all you can do.
That's it.
I got a tattoo of that this summer. So
Perfect.
Did you really?
And I think too, the more that, because I'm trying to do it and I'm not great at it, but the more that I start to realize how worked up or how much I'm dug into something, and I'm like, okay, how really important is this? Like, I've started to kind of this is a work in progress.
Yeah.
But it gets a little bit easier each time because I start to realize, nothing changed or nothing huge happened because I didn't do that when I thought I needed to or whatever, I think we all tend to kind of try to hit a certain bar that's maybe about what most people are, or a little bit higher. So, but we can't always reach that bar, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yep.
That's okay.
It's part of the climb,
My
right?
easy answer is, and you guys know this, so I was in the Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, which is like a project management
that's right. Yeah.
program. And oh boy, statistics, apparently this was equal to AP statistics. And it's been a while.
How did you do that?
Lots of help. I called our good friend David Tarnoff at one point. No, the professor was great. She had a lot of supportive videos and resources, and if you turned something in and it wasn't, because I had to get 100 on everything, so if I didn't, she would give me the some feedback or some support on it, and more times than not, the second time I did that, whatever I had missed, I would get because of her support. So that was exciting. So in July I got my black belt, and it's just nice. So I'm going to be using that in a lot of ways. I mean, I was already doing a lot of kind of root cause analysis and change management and project management stuff, but this really opens up my toolbox of different things that I can use that we don't think about for a school district, right? It's a business. So if there's a change in a policy or a change in the way a process or a procedure needs to happen, there's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes. Now, does it always get executed the way that it was planned? No. But, we try our best and hopefully find ways to make things a little bit easier, even if it's not always felt. So
that's such a great accomplishment though, Erin, because I know some other people who have done that training, and it's really hard. I haven't done it, but I think, there's an element of change management and all that, right? So no matter where you go, whether you stay as a teacher or whatever, that is a needed.
Yeah, you're bringing that with you.
Yeah, you're bringing that with you. That's going to be a needed skill set, and I see that a lot in some of the stuff that I'm doing on the side too, with our cathedral that I'm involved with turnover of people and passing things along and tribal knowledge and everything. There's the processes aren't documented well, and then they want to do create these efficiencies on what. So my hat's off to you. I'm really. That's a really incredible accomplishment.
Thanks, Fred.
Agree.
Thanks. All right, so I mentioned this is season 8.
Eight is great.
Yeah, 8 is great. I think it's episode 110, so we're well over 100 episodes. Yay! So let's reflect for a quick second. What are your thoughts? How is the podcast we have so many friends out there, and we'd love to hear from you as well, whether it's through Facebook or YouTube. Let us know, something maybe that inspired you from listening to these conversations, or things that you maybe changed because of the guests that we had on, that they had an idea that you ran with. But for us three right now, like, if you look back in all the conversations, this might be hard, but how has this helped you grow, or just helped you as an educator, as a person? I
I'll
will
go.
drink.
I'll go. I think I'm ready. Do you want me to go, Pete?
Sure.
I've said this before. When I came into the teaching profession, I stumbled into it. It wasn't as intentional as maybe the both of you. Maybe Pete, I know your history. Your entertainment background and your musical theater background, but you still kind of were angling in towards the education. So I came in education, and I learned a lot about it along the way. But I don't think I ever really thought of myself as a professional educator until we really started doing this podcast, because we talked to so many people who are amazing. And I was starting to realize, well, I have picked up a lot, because I was learning from our guests, but I was also realizing I am in that profession. I am able to understand everything that they're talking about and everything that they're doing. There's still some things I think that are at a little bit of a distance from me. I'm obviously not on the administration side as much as you are, Erin, where you see things from a different, you see the hard edge side of things, I think sometimes. But that's probably one of my biggest takeaways, is the fact that I am in a profession, and I'm an educator. I think I've always looked at myself as being a techie, an entrepreneur, and then also, a former Marine officer and so on. But that's one of the things that's come along. And I think the biggest thing for me this past summer, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself with the questions, but Erin, your background in literature, I always admire people who are able to be well read. There's something about that I think is just, it shows a love of the written work, but also a discipline, because nobody likes to sit still anymore, and everyone's got to be in motion. But there's something about that. So this past summer, I read 4 books. Well, I listened to 5 books, actually. I didn't have to read them, but I listened to them. So I went through, and they were all on AI topics. So that was my big thing, was I wanted to further myself professionally. I couldn't go do a Lean Six Sigma kind of training. I didn't have access to any other formal training. So I thought I'll take on some literature, as we've talked to many of our guests who have either written books or who have been, in the ELA space, or anything like that. So it's that was what rubbed off on me, I think, from the podcast, is realizing I'm an educator and I could educate myself still. So that's what I took on.
Absolutely.
Bravo.
Yeah. And I think we've nicely have incorporated book recommendations throughout the
Mhm.
years, which I absolutely love. We should probably generate like one big list
Totally.
for people, maybe at some
Yeah,
point.
I think so.
How
Yeah.
about you, Erin?
For me, like, even tonight, I so exhausted getting, but as I was about to get on, and I think, "Oh, how am I going to get through this?" But the minute we get together, between you two guys and your energy and just your thoughts, I love to hear. And then when we have guests on that always, inspire or bring up some new idea, or just kind of remind me of, like, it reminds me a little, and I'm going to be careful of making this comparison, Pete. But when you see people who are in the theater, or our drama students, there's a special connection they have. And I don't know how to explain it, but for me, it's very observable. And it reminds me of that I think when you're in education, you're an educator, it's very difficult for someone who's not to understand all the dynamics, the emotions, the commitment, the responsibility, whatever that it takes. And so I just think I like taking time to be in a space with, doesn't have to be like-minded people, but just people who I feel like just understand it, whether we've met them or not, is just, I mean, I'll get off this call and I won't be able to sleep, because I'll just be thinking about all the stuff we talked about,
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
I like that.
it's any team situation where people are depending on each other. It could be a sports team. It could be a marching band. It could be,
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm on the same page.
You know what? It's funny. I had a meeting with somebody this past week, and we did this exercise where we were talking about strengths and weaknesses and so on. And these are people, I won't go saying their names because I don't think it would be appropriate, but they know us. And in this one observation, somebody said, they go, one of the things that struck me that I thought was really interesting was how you all gravitated towards each other at the Momentum event that we've all attended. And it would be like, they're like, all the teachers were always kind of like together, huddled up, but it was mainly you, like when he was saying Pete and Erin and me, and then Jennifer Schoen, and who was a guest of ours in a prior season. But so it's good to. So in the military side, one of the things my wife would always bust on me about is like, she's like, we can go into any room where there's a party and you military people all gravitate and go to the same corner together. It's like, kind of like that team. It's a team. You kind of understand what everybody's going through or what they're doing. And it's a comforting thing. It's a comfort food, I guess.
I think so. How about you, Pete?
Oh, TPR is my anchor. Cool. It's my source of clarity.
That's kind of scary then.
Yeah, no, it is. When I come in, I feel like there's this thunderstorm in my head, and then when we start talking and we share and we have guests and I learn, it's like the breeze after a thunderstorm when things are just calmed down and everything's a couple degrees a little bit cooler. It's just that, and I hope we could become that more for our listeners, and we can continue to build up that community, because that's what it's always been about. We started during COVID. And we're keep chugging along, and I'm sure there's a billion people out there that could benefit from our chats. But I know I there's no words to describe how much I benefited from our friendship and our chats, for sure. So, yeah,
absolutely. And I'll say, as we kick this new season off, we've got some really exciting guests coming on, some big authors. We've got some motivational speakers, people who. Kind of similar to what we were just talking about, thinking about our mindset. I know that's a buzzword, but making it a personalized mindset, not just a growth mindset, but whatever you want your mindset to be. So we'll talk about AI this year and educational technology stuff. We always talk about cybersecurity awareness
coming up in October.
So we've got some exciting stuff coming up. I'm really excited and geared up and ready for it. So, Pete, where can people continue the conversation? Follow us.
Our website's teacherpeprally.com. We're on Facebook, our Instagram. We're going to work on a few other things. We're on YouTube. Wherever you're listening to us, like, subscribe, share, make a comment. Let's get in touch. And we also have a hotline, right, Erin?
We do. And I was just pulling it up because I was going to say, usually at the end, we ask our guests to share a story about a teacher, a coach, a mentor, someone growing up that they feel like made a difference in their life within some kind of part of the learning and education community. So if you want to share your teacher story about a teacher, a coach, a mentor who made a difference in your life, please call 470-227 0 TPR 470-227 0 TPR, because we would love to hear it. And if it's okay with you, we're going to share your stories on our podcast.
Please give us a call.
Just for the audience, what is the numbers for TPR?
Yeah, great question. Let me pull up my keypad. So TPR is 877.
All right. So I'm going to put that here in there we go. Phone in a teacher story. There we go.
That
at the end of the screen.
That looks beautiful. 470-227-0877. Also, if you know someone who's an inspiration to you, we've challenged ourselves this year, right? So, someone, I'll use the word loosely, famous. It might be an influencer. It might be, I told Fred, an astronaut. For me, I've got some professional soccer players that I'm hoping to reach out to. But, everyone knows a teacher. Everyone, has someone, hopefully, that influenced their life in some positive way as they were growing up. So we really want to kind of get those stories out there this year and share them and see all those themes. So if you can help us out, we would appreciate it. And Pete and Fred, until next time, this was really great. Welcome back.
Happy school
year. Good to see everybody. Yeah, happy school year. Good luck with everybody. We'll be back next week. And we are.
It's still going.
It's still going. We're holding on here.
They just don't want to let us go.
Oh my God.
No.
Hold on. Oh
Can
my
you
gosh.
blame them?
Can you?
There you go.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yay!
Good.
I got to find out why it's doing that. It's a maddening thing. It's like you click the button and then you have to click the sub menu item, and the sub menu
it's
item
still
keeps on
live.
disappearing. It's like,
It's still live. It's still live, Fred.
Oh, we're still live.
oh, sorry, folks.
You know,
If you're out there, let
I
us
have a
know.
little technical
You know,
problem here, folks.
This
other
is
people
where
would
we're
say-
living now. So
other people would say this is the Patreon edition right here. This is the
they're getting it for
backstage.
free. This is the good stuff.
How is the sausage meat?
Yes.
I think I just might have to kill this. I don't know.
Oh, we're gonna kill it.
That guy.
That little duck right there is.
This is where we're living now.
We're stuck in the box forever.
Oh,
We'll still be here
hello,
next week.
everybody. Good morning.
Let's
Hope
see.
you
here.
We
slept
could do
well.
it. We could do a host-a-thon. Do you remember when we
overnight-
used to do that? We'll be
A
up all
TPR
night.
-thon.
Call in now. We do have a number. We have a phone number now, so we could.
We had a 24. It was over a weekend. We had a volleyball-a-thon to pay for our band trip in high school. One of the greatest memories.
Wait, what did you have to do?
A volleyball-a-thon. We played volleyball for an entire weekend, and we were overnight in the high school gym. It was great to raise
I
money
remember
for
we
our
did
band
the
trip.
jump rope one.
Yep.
And then it wasn't me. I think it was our marching band. They did a rockathon. So they
Nice.
rocked in rocking chairs.
Oh,
Oh,
my
nice.
gosh. No, we're still gone.